The Romantic era entwined nature, beauty, death, and presence into artistic, emotional poetry. Ode to a Nightingale confuses reality and imagination, demonstrating the power of the artistic poetry. It really interestingly entwines drugs and manipulation of the mind, reaching out to directly pull the audience's mind into the world of the poem.
My heart aches, and a drowsy numbness pains my sense, as though of hemlock I had drunk, or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. 1 minute passed, and Leithwoods had sunk. 'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou, light-winged dryad of the trees, in some melodious plot of beech and green and shadows numberless, singest of summer in full-throated ease. Over a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep-delved earth, tasting of flora and the country green, dance and provincial song and sunburnt mirth, over a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, the blushful Hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim, and purple-stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and fade with thee, fade away into the forest dim. Fade far away, dissolve and quite forget what thou amongst the leaves hast never known, the weariness, the fever, and the fret, here where men sit and hear each other groan, where palsy shakes a few sad last grey hairs, where youth goes pale and spectre thin, and dies, where but to think is to be full of sorrow, and leadened eye despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes, or new love pine at them beyond tomorrow. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his pards, but on the viewless wings of poesy, though the dull blade perplexes and retards. Already with thee, tender is the night, and happily the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry face, but there is no light, save from what heaven is, with the breezes blown, through vendorous glooms and winding mossy ways. I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs, but in embalmed darkness guess each sweet, wherewith the seasonable month endows, the grass, the thicket, and the fruit tree wild, white hawthorn and the pastoral eglantine, fast fading violets covered up in leaves, and, mid-May's eldest child, the coming musk rose of full dewy wine, the murmurous haunt of flies on summer eves. Darkling I listen, and, for many a time, I have been in love with half-easeful death, called him soft names in many amused rhyme, to take into the air my quiet breath. Now more than ever seems it rich to die, to seize upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Still wouldst thou sing, and I can have ears in vain, to thy high requiem become a sod. Thou wast not born for death, immortal bird, no hungry generations tread thee down. The voice I hear this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and clown. Perhaps the self-same song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth, when, sick for home, she stood in tears amid the alien corn, the same that oft times hath charmed magic casements opening on the foam of perilous seas in fairy lands forlorn. Forlorn, the very word is like a bell, to toll me back from thee to my soul's self. Adieu, the fancy cannot cheat so well, and she is famed to do so, deceiving elf. Adieu, adieu, thy plaintive anthem fades, past the near meadows, over the still stream, up the hillside, and now 'tis buried deep in the next valley's glades. Was it a vision, or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake or sleep?